What's up, my financially intentional people? We are joined today by Tyron Tyson from the Be More, who is a fellow nurse, but is a finance professional. He has multiple certifications, and he's going to put us up on game on just the things that he has done to build his own portfolios through adversity and successes so that we can be on the path to build wealth and not have to make the same mistakes. So what's up, Tyron?
What's going on? What's going on? How you doing, Lissy?
Doing good. You're a nurse and you're like licensed financial
Mhm.
planner. Like, why the two things? Like, how do those two go together? Do they go together? Like, why'd you take that path?
So the paths converged as I am trying to work my way out of being a nurse. The financial professional and being a financial planner is really my future goals and future paths, and I'm using nursing to fund that. But I'm using that because of my experiences, and I want to say raw experience in being a nurse is just not for me. I love the patient care. Like I love that interaction with patients, but anything outside of that patient's room is just, it's not the environment that's conducive to my growth as a person. Sacrificing right now and putting in the work, still being the best nurse I can, still staying on top of my competencies and things. And that's why I really moved in a direction that I feel I can last in long term. So that's why I'm a vascular access nurse now, because I always love putting in IVs, even since I was a CNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something I can come in, I can be the hero for 10 minutes, and then I'm out of there and back just on to getting that. I feel like it's just more fulfilling. People actually thank
Yes.
me for what I do, and they smile. So that's how I got into the financial field, because just nursing has just been a whirlwind.
And that's funny because I'm an advocate. I love nursing, but I want to preface this by saying I've always been a nurse in Northern California where we have break nurses, we have patient ratios, we have very good pay. We will strike for anything. If we stay overtime or if we miss a break, we're getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So I am very spoiled in the fact that I've had very good working conditions as a nurse. And so I'm always the one to advocate that nursing is the ultimate, like I would never retire from nursing because I can structure it in a way that fits my lifestyle. And it's actually what I love doing. So
I'm not an advocate against nursing. I'm just not going to tell you the good things about it. I'm going to tell you the real and honest truth. But for me,
yeah.
the system is a problem, but it's also the environment, and
Mm-hmm.
being a male, on top of that, being a black male,
Yes.
it's a constant battle that I gotta fight on the outside world too much. And then I gotta fight the system as well, but I don't want to have to also fight the people whom I'm there to help patients with, in that hierarchy there.
I feel like, first of all, there's not a lot of male nurses. There's definitely not a lot of black male nurses. What was your ideal of nursing that caused you to go into nursing?
So my after high school, I chased like the football dream just for a little bit, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
like I'm always a realist. Like, listen, these guys too big. I need to go home and figure out something that works for me. And the science, I always had a strong science foundation. My grandmother was a nurse. She's, listen, boy, you a hard worker. You always put a smile on somebody's face, and with becoming a nurse, you can travel the world and do whatever with it. Always have a job. I really didn't have any other options, and my idea was that I was going to
Mm-hmm.
get in, work my way up, and be able to be in a position of power to be able to help people.
Yeah.
My idea of what a nurse was, I never been to the hospital prior to starting my journey. So I think my idea was like a superhero versus
Mm-hmm.
a real person. So it was a little skewed when I got in, especially with how my grandmother is. So that's how I chose the path.
And I think so. Both of us got into healthcare that same way. Like I came from a single dad. My dad didn't have healthcare insurance. I had to access healthcare through community clinics, waiting in line. And I was like, this is horrible. Like, this system needs to be fixed. I want to change access. So I thought I'll be a doctor. That'll do that. And when I went to college, I was like, oh, that's what doctors do. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Then I went into healthcare administration, and I was an administrator for a big hospital organization and realized the system is jacked up, and that is not what I wanted to do. But I saw the nurses that I worked with, and they were so happy, and they did affect change because they were the ones that were actually helping the patients, advocating for the patients, and they loved their jobs. And I was like, I'm gonna be a nurse. So after I already had a master's in healthcare administration, went back to school to be a nurse, so that I didn't want to be in management. I didn't want to be in that nasty side of healthcare. Like, I wanted to actually affect patient care. And I'm able to do that just as a staff nurse. And I love what I do. But I think it's very interesting, like, that we came into nursing with those same goals, and how that played out is interesting. But yeah, the healthcare system is broken. I feel like it's an obligation, like for me, especially as a Black woman in the perinatal space, to stay as an advocate, because there aren't a lot of people to advocate for these patients that things are happening to that could be avoided. But like, the system, it needs to implode. And I'm sorry
Mhm.
that that's your experience. And I can understand why you experienced that. But I think if you came out to the Bay and worked out here, you probably
Nah.
like
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
probably like it. Come
Nah.
on, bring your wife, bring the
It don't
baby.
matter where you go. The grass is not greener on the other side. I
I'm telling
don't
you,
care. I
I'm
told you
telling
it's
you.
not the system. It's a culture. So where I'm from, the culture where I'm from is rarely seen through the cultural lens of the people that I work with. And the lens that
Mm-hmm.
they see it through is oftentimes very negative, just in what America is. But those biases, those social biases and prejudices seep out in the environment, and I'm just here to help people. And I'm
Yeah.
not here to fight that. So I've learned through nursing that I love to help people, which is why I moved into the finance and financial planning. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person where I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a hustler, and I want to build something that I have ownership of, because nurses have no equity within the healthcare system. So I want to build, and that's the true way to build wealth is through equity and ownership. Going and becoming a financial planner, I can choose whom I want to work with, and I can
Mm-hmm.
still help not just one person, but generations of people by setting people up and to be in the right position financially.
I hear you 100%. And I don't know if Rich and Regular, they wrote a book called Cashing Out, and it talks about how, just like you're saying, it doesn't matter what we do, how far we get, like, in this system, we're always going to be at a disadvantage. And don't ignore that. Understand that. And it is our obligation to gain financial independence so that we can cash out, and then we can have our own equity. We can build our own wealth outside of these systems, because these systems were not created for us. And yeah, that's the only way to do it. So I get it a
Mhm.
hundred percent. A
Mhm.
hundred percent. And I think, like, what you're doing on your financial professional side is going to serve that purpose. So I love it. Let's talk about your path to becoming a financial professional and the things that you have experienced along the way.
Okay, so my path to becoming getting in the financial field was
Mm-hmm.
started in at the right when COVID happened. It was
Mm-hmm.
during my COVID contracts. I did one contract before really starting to study for my license, but I've always had a financial advisor, and
Mm-hmm.
he was through Primerica.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had any issue. I got my things set up, but when I got that financial professional, I didn't know about the fees and things of that nature. Rocked with him for my first 2 years. Then I started to make some real money, and I'm like, I got to figure out what to do with this. But also, I thought that COVID was going to get me out of nursing. I thought COVID was going to change my life.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, let me figure out what to do with it. I started to
Mm-hmm.
study real estate. Once I
Mm-hmm.
started to understand the real estate aspect, I really wanted to understand, all right, what are the finances that I need? What do I need to have in place?
Let me pause
Then,
for 1 second. So when you say you thought that COVID was going to change your life, you mean because you were making so much money doing those COVID contracts that you thought that was going to be it?
No,
or what does that
because
mean?
the idea of wealth and the process
Mhm,
of building wealth, I've
mhm.
never seen anyone do it.
Ah.
Getting rich to me was like, I made during COVID, I made over $250,000.
So the difference between getting money and actually building wealth. You thought getting money was building wealth. Okay, got
Yep.
you.
I thought I was going
Yeah.
to get. I was getting $18,000 a week. I thought I was investing in Turo. I was investing in vending machines. I was investing in. I had Airbnb out my basement. I'm like 7 streams of income. We about to get a
Mhm,
million. But then I'm like, all right, the math ain't mathing. I'm putting out here and it's coming back not like I put out or more. So
mhm,
it's, and then that's when I focused on real estate and financial planning because I'm like, I got to figure out, I got to know the finance side as well
mhm,
as the investor side of it.
mhm,
And reached out to my buddy who was my financial advisor and he got me licensed as a life insurance professional. I said,
mhm.
okay. Then they wanted me to get my Series 7 or my
6.
Series
Mhm,
6, which is to be able
mhm,
to sell securities.
mhm,
But the first exam I had to take was my securities entrance exam. So I
mhm,
went about that and I'm reading and I'm like, okay, this information been out here this whole time. Like,
mhm,
that's okay. So I'm understanding the actual compound interest or how things grow and different
mhm,
understanding the markets and just the basics.
mhm,
But I'm like, okay, I'm only able to sell securities. And then I started to understand like I would have come in under him, but he was under a person. And I was like, okay, how much am I getting? And it was only like, it wasn't even 50% how the breakdown. So I'm just like, I just don't like this profit split, profit share because I'm
mhm,
putting in the work and I knew I was coming in with my platform and had the
mhm,
leverage. So I'm
mhm,
like, I did some more research and got to digging and I'm like, okay, they are a securities brokerage company. They also
mhm,
sell life insurance and they get commissions from that. So
mhm,
that's why it's that constant push and sale model with them. And I was like, that's
mhm,
not, I don't want commissions. And that's what I learned what it is to be a fee only fiduciary and
mhm.
working as a financial planner. So I was like, okay, this
Yes.
is the route that I want to, that I can really help people versus, hey, come in, get life insurance and go to this mutual fund versus what do you really need and what do you
Yes.
really have available and let's try to get you to because I met with him one time after I might get a couple emails but I wasn't meeting with him on a recurring basis and helping out with the in between the years in
Mhm,
between the years so
mhm.
that's how I found my path as a financial advisor.
Yeah, I like that she brought up that structure, but you have to understand that in that structure is highly driven by getting commissions. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, the way that people get commissions is by having you sign up for things that
That
may or
you
may
don't
not
really
be the
need.
best
Mm-hmm.
option for you. And so things are oversold that you don't really need. And so when you think about a fiduciary is someone that's supposed to have your best financial interest at heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're supposed to make sure they're making the best decisions for you. But oftentimes, you don't pay for this service up front, right? So it seems like they're doing you a favor. They're putting you into this product,
Mm-hmm.
but they're getting very high commissions in the back end. And you probably aren't going to benefit as much from that product as you
Yeah.
would if you would have paid a little bit of money up front to get the services that you need. And
Right.
so I strongly push people towards working with fee only fiduciary advisors. And now there's this whole structure of advice only advisors. I don't know if you know about Jeremy of Personal Finance Club. He just actually opened a business called,
Okay.
anyway, he just has just a network of advice only people. And
Oh.
I think that model is starting to grow as people are feeling the backlash of
Mm-hmm.
paying for these high products that they don't use, that often lapse when they actually need them. And just it's a whole bunch of issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's predatory towards certain people, all these kind of things. So thank you for sharing that
Oh,
because
no problem.
from you got to see it from the back end and you were just like, nah, this is
Yeah.
not like how I
Yeah.
want to serve. And so I appreciate that take. What's your trajectory now? So how long do you think you're going to be in nursing and how are you going to fully pivot into doing financial planning, financial services?
So I look at it like a triangle of
Mm-hmm.
my escape plan. But so using my nursing to fund my financial planning practice, and at some point, like I've taken the brakes off of investing in real estate so that I can invest more into my business. But
Mm-hmm.
at some point, to build my business up to be able to
Mm-hmm.
use those profits to then invest back into my real estate portfolio. Right now, I really plan on being a nurse if I'm being realistic with myself, I'll give myself another 5 years, and I'll say I did 11 or 12 years, and still keeping my toe in the door, not even my toe, my big toenail in the door. Keeping it in the door, maybe picking up a shift here and there. Because like I said, I
Hmm.
still love placing IVs. I still love
Yes.
help saving these
Yes.
patients from these nurses who just killing people with a needle. But that's neither here nor there. And really, 5 years to be able to have enough of it, revenue from my financial planning practice. My goal, clientele wise, is to have 100 clients on board at some point. And this is a 10-year time frame I'm giving
Hmm.
myself. But to have enough revenue to where it replaces my nursing income, I can start to put 100% of my time into my practice, as far as, because I could have gone through a Fidelity. I could have gone through what are these other companies, Edward Jones, and
Hmm.
become an advisor like that. But I wouldn't have had the freedom of being
Hmm.
able to market and be on social media. So I don't
Yeah.
have the same
Yeah.
constraints, but I had way more responsibility in building my process from the ground up,
Yes.
marketing
Yes.
everything, dealing with
Hmm.
compliance, being able to use that, go 100% at that, build up, again, continue to scale up, and then just passively put everything back into my real estate holdings. Because as I've been in real estate over the last 3 years, I've grown a network within real estate, and I'm a small time landlord right now, and I've got my experiences with that. It's not for the faint of heart, but knowing the same amount of work you're gonna put into making $100,000 is the same amount of work you're gonna put into making $1 million. It's just what's the return that you want, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's more risk, but really, what's your tolerance for? I really want to get into more things. I have some equity in an apartment complex here in Baltimore, so really get into the real estate development side of things, and investing into big projects like that.
I know you're a strong advocate of people getting into real estate. So it sounds like you do a little bit of syndication.
The one right now is small. You could say it's a syndication, but more it's with more sophisticated investors. Because I have my Series 65, I'm a
Investors.
accredited investor. Yeah. But so
Yes.
because I'm able to be an accredited investor, I'm able to come in more on a limited partnership side, and because it's a friend of mine who I've built a relationship in, I don't have to, the minimums aren't as high as your
Hmm.
normal syndications. And then I have just more access to what's really going on and understanding. So,
Yeah. Let's break down a little
mhm.
bit of credit to be an accredited investor. You need $1 million in assets or something like that. Isn't there? There's 6 requirements, and I can't think of them
Yeah.
off the top of my head because much
So I know
more.
licensing
Yeah.
is one, having a
Uh-huh.
million in net worth, and it can
Net
include your
worth. Yeah.
primary residence. You have to make, I can't remember the number. I don't know if
Like
it's
250 or something
250,
like
yeah,
that.
250 a
Yeah. Hmm.
year. And if it's you and your spouse, it has to be more than that. So
Hmm.
it's a couple of them. I know once I got in, because the other ways for me to have gotten in were, it's going to take some while to build up that net worth. And also, as a
Uh-huh.
nurse, there's not too many people making that much.
In California, there is.
Okay, all right. Listen, I'm telling you, people have tried. It's gonna be hard to break. It's gonna be hard to
I'm,
break me.
I'm telling you, it's
Mm-mm.
okay. It's okay. I'm gonna
Cali
get you over
taxes are
here.
high. The food is not
Listen.
that good over there.
You tripping?
Housing is the real estate market over there. People, there's a mass exodus away from California. You think I want
Listen,
to go over there for
it's
nursing?
all good.
The rich people leaving.
We'll talk. I'll put you up
Okay.
on game.
Okay. I'm down to listen. I'm down to have my
It's all
educated.
good. I'm
Mm.
not mad. I'm not mad at you thinking like that. It's all good.
I told you I'm trying to get out. Why you just can't let a brother
Listen,
escape? You keep trying to bring me back to the plantation.
not. I just know that there are different paths, and that you could
Mhm.
be happy. You can come out here, do your geo arbitrage, get your
Mm.
money, and just accelerate that wealth building even faster. I'm just giving you another little road, but it's all good.
Okay.
But
Okay. Mhm.
real estate, like,
Mhm.
you really feel like you can empower people to build wealth through real estate. What does that look like for the clients that you're serving?
Right. So I work with aspiring real estate investors now. I say that very, very, when I say aspiring, people who are actually educating themselves on real estate, who are currently saving and building capital for a down payment, actually understanding what investment strategy they want to take. I help them make sure they have the foundation before getting into real estate, understanding all the uncertainties and risks that could happen along the way, but also working with established investors who have an active portfolio, and really trying to help them scale their portfolio as efficiently as possible. But my ultimate goal for everyone is to diversify that positive cash flow back into the market so that we can increase our return on our initial investment, and so that we can start to generate some income for early retirement. So that's
Yes,
what,
I love.
yeah, I'm about. A lot of people want to get into real estate, but if you're willing to do the work, do the research, and put in the time, it's not as hard as you think, but it has to be something that, you really have to have a why for, because you'll run into some obstacles and some bumps in the road that can really make or break you financially. And if not being prepared mentally and financially, then you got to be a strong person to make it through that by yourself, I feel. And that was
Mhm.
my experience over the last 2 years, as I really shot myself in the foot in buying two multifamily properties at the same time, and thinking that it was just going to be just by the book. And that's when life said, "No, sir. Hold on. I'm gonna show you something. You want to build wealth? Yeah, and we're gonna break you down and build you back up."
Biggest takeaways for buying those properties?
Patience, patience.
Mhm.
Really, being more strategic and tactical with my investment strategy. So initially, like I told you, I felt like I was under a time crunch with COVID. I didn't know
Mhm.
how long I was going to be making that much money. And like I said, my idea of building wealth and building a real estate portfolio was much more dramatic or unrealistic, my
Mhm.
expectations versus reality. So I would say being more patient, cash is king, it,
Mhm.
and having that available to then be able to leverage and get yourself in. And then once you're in, being able to financially afford any pitfalls that may happen. That's what it's really all about. And then building wealth takes time. It's a
Mhm.
long process. Having one rental property isn't going to retire you. Having two isn't going to retire you. So it's really building that portfolio, and then going through the entire life cycle of the property ownership process. So it's not just, it doesn't just stop at acquisition. Once you acquire the property, now you got to stabilize it. You got to get it renovated. Yeah, you got to get it renovated, and you got to get tenants in there. And then that's when you get to normal operations, and being able to actually build some equity in it through your rents that you're getting from your tenants, and then also being able to build some extra income from that. That's what I would say my takeaways are, because I got in thinking I'm gonna get the property. They say get in with no money down, get in
Mhm.
with little money, buy one real estate property, and you'll make $1,200 a month from one property. And it's like, it's a lot of other numbers that go into that. And really, you're looking at, if you're making 200 and positive cash flow, trying to double that, so 200 per door, and then building that up to a point where you have a good amount of net positive cash flow
Mhm.
after all expenses are paid and cash reserves are allocated.
Yeah. And I know that you created your platform so that you can help people avoid those pitfalls that you've gone through. You really about putting that game out there because, like I said, we're heavy on the each one, teach one. As long as you're willing to come to the table with the ability to put in the work, then you can help people get to where they need to be financially. Real
Mhm.
estate is not my thing.
That's not the only
Yeah.
way out, but
Yeah.
having
Hmm.
ownership in something. But I
Yeah.
just took really.
But to show people what's possible. And then but you can offer an array of services, but you also have that experience of having to grind that out, go through that, learn those lessons so that other people don't make those same mistakes. And so you out here, go ahead.
And I just want to say something before we even start to thinking about investing in other things outside of ourselves. We
Hmm.
have not, I mentioned something about insurance earlier, but some people don't. And that's what also goes into my services. But some people don't even have enough insurance coverage for themselves right now, and in the life they have. Some people don't have a large enough emergency savings for if something happens. So that's what I really want to focus on, building that foundation, because if you're not maxing out 401k or maxing out your Roth IRA or having a emergency fund, and if you don't have enough insurance for yourself, You don't have that, I don't think you should be really investing in anything. You should really be taking care of house before you start to build on top of that. That's what's really big to me, because whether you invest in the stock market, whether you start a business, whether you invest in real estate, it's going to take one, whether you can get into a car accident and not be able to work anymore. Then what happens?
Yeah.
Or it takes one big mistake within the business, within the market, within the property, that can really drain everything, knock you
Mhm.
really off your feet. And now you're just trying to play catch up to keep up with cost of living. So that's what's really important to me before the
Yeah.
real estate and building wealth.
I love that. It's about getting that financial foundation in place. And a lot of times it wasn't modeled for us. And so it's things that we have to learn in the back end. It's never too late to get those things in place. But what's I see people doing is try to jump towards flashy investments and do all these kind of things. And what's the next Bitcoin? What's the next AMC and GameStop when all that stuff was popping during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic? And it's just, hold on, brother.
Great spot.
Did
Great
you?
spot.
Do you have money in the bank? Do you
But
even have life
yeah,
insurance? Like all of these things. But what I know is that people that you have been putting this information out there on your platform. You've been sharing this knowledge with people, super accessible. Let people know like how they can get in contact with you, how they can follow your journey, and how you work with people.
so you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at the Urban Nurse. Those are my two main active platforms. For my real estate investors out there, my healthcare landlords, I do have a private Facebook group, the Healthcare Landlord Network, where you know community is so important when you're on the journey of building wealth in whatever you're doing. So having a place that landlords can come express themselves, motivate each other, and grow together, that's what I'm really focused on right now. And if you're interested in wealth management services, especially real estate planning, you can find me at opulentascension.com, or on any of my social platforms. There's a link in the description and link in the bio where you can find more information and set up a free discovery call with me.
And if you have any questions, you can always slide in the DMs.
Yeah. Listen, I get a lot of sliding through the DMs of,
Yeah.
"Hey, help me! I need help
I
getting
need
out."
help. I
What does
need
that mean?
help. We're here for you. But yeah, I love that. I'm going to try to encourage you to have at least your one foot in the door of nursing because I still feel like it's the ultimate FI career. So I'm gonna stand on that. But I love what you're doing in helping yourself find financial freedom and helping others find financial freedom. So I'm never gonna knock that. And if you want to slide on that side too, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's incredible. But I thank
Okay.
you so much for
No,
sharing your
thank you.
story. It's incredible. I think that just your energy is great. You're such a positive person. So I just encourage everybody check you out. Follow Tyron, the urban nurse,
Listen,
on the
I think
platforms.
I thank you,
Yes.
Nasima, for just answering my DM. I was shooting, you know what I'm saying? I was shooting my shot, and I was just like, if she responds, she responds. She don't, but I watch people and I study people from a distance, especially people who are at a place that I'm trying to get to, which that's what I look at you as. And I was just really in awe of your platform, which you built very organically. I'm like, okay, she's herself. She's not doing it for the gram. She's being her. And that's how I want to organically build my platform. So thank you for giving myself a opportunity and allowing me to share my value on your platform.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And yes, I'm me, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's how I want to be. Like that's how I show up in all things in life. And but I paid the cost to be the boss. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to tolerate a lot of stuff. Yeah, like I'm putting stuff in place so my daughters don't have to do all of that stuff so they can opt out of the BS. But that's why I do it. So I really appreciate you. I appreciate you seeing me. But yeah, me too. Slide in my DMs too. I am very responsive because ultimately we're just here to help. So I love having you on. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
And I'm sure people will be reaching out.
Let's tap in with me.